I'm being harshed on all the mellowed front.
Marshmallow?
Yes, the DJ, not the candy.
Yeah.
Wait, is marshmallow candy?
What the hell? Why don't you log in?
Oh, I logged you out.
Not
that I did it on
Are you
purpose.
awake?
What?
Are you still on Travis's?
Oh, is that why?
Maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Haha. That could be why. Alright, let's tell everyone that we're live here.
Okay, I'm going.
Yep, he needs constant attention.
He needs someone to look at him.
He knows I'm here, that's all.
Can you just put like googly eyes up and he'll think it's you?
No.
All the season finales.
Yep.
That's just basically what this episode is. It's just season finales.
It's season finales.
Yep, the seasons have finally
I love to
concluded.
call them. Yes, I know I stole that from Joel McHale, but still.
I'm sure he was not the first one to steal it from someone. Also, it feels wet. Alright, let's get to talking.
Oh, weather delay. This is what happened last time, too.
Alright, where's my guy at? Where the hell's my guy at? Oh,
Twins.
well, apparently this rain here has caused a little bit of a weather delay, even though it's no longer raining.
Uh-huh.
Like a certain Iron Throne.
Huh.
Rain! But here, rain is a good thing.
Some people say that.
Some people. I mean, you can say it. Some people can say it. I will not specifically say it, but you can say it. And some people may say it.
That's okay. Guy's always on.
Guy is always on. Well, speaking of always on, it is Wednesday.
We're not always on,
at
but we are on right now.
Yes.
On live on YouTube.com.
It is always Wednesday, and it's 6:30, and we are
I'm
live.
stuffing my face with white cheddar corn puffs.
Well, let's get started then, shall we? Or you want to
Two more.
stuff it?
One more.
Just learn to stuff it.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff it real good. Oh, we have a watcher.
Okay.
Watch it. All right.
Okay. I think I'm ready. I'm ready to do the Media Boat Podcast.
See, I thought you were ready for this jelly.
I'm never ready for this jelly.
No one is ever ready for this.
Beyonce is right. I'm not ready for that jelly. Hi, it's the Media Boat Podcast. This is a podcast, in case you don't know. We are live right now on youtube.com/ well, actually, I don't know what it is.
It's media. I think it's
Search Media Boat Podcast on YouTube and you'll find us.
Yeah.
We're live right now. It is 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, like we are always live. The Media Boat Podcast is a show with news about movies, television, music, and video games, and apparently a barking dog in the background.
Oh, don't worry. I'll silence that dog.
Oh, dark.
I know, right? Well,
That's not a dog's journey.
it will be a dog's purpose in the middle.
Okay, anyways. Wow, that's an awful start. Today is Wednesday, May the 22nd. Yeah, can you believe it's already almost June of
Yeah.
2019
Next
year?
No, we have a show next week, actually, in May. And then it's June.
It's crazy.
I know.
But yeah, May the 22nd, 2019. This is specifically episode
76? 176?
176.
177, maybe? 7?
But yeah, regardless, the Media Boat Podcast, we said what it is. My name is Matt. His name is Mike.
I'm Mike. He's Matt. And because this is the end of May, it means the end of TV.
Yeah, summer means that the season's over. So we will have lots of talk about season finales.
But before we get to talking about all those shows that are no longer on the air,
Yes.
we have to talk about movies.
We always start with movies, and we always start movies with the weekend box office numbers. Last week, we talked about how we assumed, and rightfully assumed, that John Wick 3 Parabellum would be your number one movie, and sure enough, that has happened. It's number one with $56 million.
I don't know.
Bad debut.
I don't know how that compares to the other John Wicks, but it makes it number one. So expect to see John Wick number one ads.
Hell, it made more money than Detective Pikachu did last week.
Oh, shots fired.
Speaking of Detective Pikachu, it is not even number 2. Avengers comes in at number 2. Avengers Endgame, that is, with $29 million, adding to its $771 million domestic total. Pokemon Detective Pikachu at number 3 with $25 million, adding to its total of 94, so that will cross 100 by next week. A Dog's Journey, as we mentioned, number 4 with $8 million in its first weekend. The Hustle, number 5 with $6 million, adding to a total of 23.
Oh, no, not That Hustle.
Yep, not That Hustle. And The Sun Is Also a Star, your other debut this week. $2.5 million. Not great for a first weekend. But that's not a big budget thing. It doesn't need to make a whole lot of money, so it'll do fine.
It could at least make some money, you'd think, right?
But no.
Right?
Not against some fare that I guess that's still stealing some of its audience.
Well, even more will be stolen from its audience as we have new releases.
We do. We have 3 small ones and a big one.
A biggin.
Your number 1 movie is on this list.
Okay, what is my number 1 movie?
Might as well get that over with now. It's Aladdin. Disney's live-action adaptation of Aladdin comes out next week.
Yes, it does.
With Will Smith's star power, with name recognition, and it being a big family musical, this is surefire number 1.
And unlike what the trailers may tell you, this is not a whole new world. Or actually it is, because it's actually like live action, so it is a whole new world.
It's a whole new interpretation of an existing world.
Yes. You could say that it's a new, fantastic point of view.
You could say that. However, I recommend that you don't dare close your eyes, or else you'll miss, the entirety of the movie.
Anyways, we're good.
Also, the theaters this weekend.
Wait, there's other films coming out this weekend?
There are other films. Believe it or not, people did not get out of the way of Aladdin. Ad Astra.
I thought I took that off.
I don't know what that is.
We will talk about that in the news because that is not being released, and we'll tell you why in a hot second. But what else is being released?
We also have Booksmart.
This is a teen comedy coming of age. Looks like Superbad, but with girls.
Okay. And Brightburn.
This is if Superman was a horror film.
Oh, right.
This is the James Gunn produced thing.
Yeah, I saw a trailer for this.
I don't think he directed it.
But
yeah, James Gunn's involved with this, Brightburn. It's basically if Superman, like the story of Superman, was a horror because, he's an alien with alien powers. Finding out as a kid, that's kind of like a horror scenario, especially being mortal humans, non-Kryptonians.
Not being able to understand it, not being able to control it, and taking advantage of maybe the power in the wrong way.
Yes, or not understanding your power because, you're a kid.
Yeah.
So that's what Brightburn is. That is a cool and interesting concept.
Yeah.
We'll
see how it turns out.
See how it turns out.
All right. I
may check this out because I like the concept and I like James Gunn. Box office wise, I was going to put this in a low teens.
Yeah. Needless to say. All right. Your number 1 movie will be Aladdin next week, no question.
Yeah, no question.
Which catapults us right into movie news.
Now, you mentioned a film earlier.
I did.
Ad Astra.
So what is Ad Astra? Well, it was a film that was supposed to be released this week, but was mysteriously pulled. Well, not so mysteriously, once you consider it was made at Fox in 2017, which is, of course, prior to the Disney purchase.
Yeah.
Ad Astra, in case you're wondering, stars Brad Pitt in a journey across the solar system in search of his missing father, played by Tommy Lee Jones. Also co-starring Ruth Negga, Jamie Kennedy, and Donald Sutherland.
Yes, that Jamie Kennedy and that Donald Sutherland.
Jamie Kennedy, what has he been doing? He's still inexperienced?
I don't know, trying to mask his identity, I guess.
So the film had an original release of way back in January 11th, but then moved to Memorial Day after being quietly pulled just weeks before release. No trailers or stills have been released since the Disney purchase, most likely to make way for Aladdin, which is also releasing the same day. So Disney was probably looking at the docket being like, well, we already have a big budget movie coming out with a star. We don't really need this other one to eat possible theater space.
And since now we have taken over this film, and we now
have the power
to distribute
it
this, we're going to push it back. This is a power play move by Disney to push Fox's property out of the way to make room for their own property, Aladdin, because why would you compete?
Because why? Yeah, why would you compete with yourself? So yeah, this makes sense. Also, that movie sounds dumb, and I don't want to see it.
It's a space movie.
It's a space movie.
I mean, I can't...
I gathered as much from the description, but okay, thank you for reinforcing this. Anyways. Okay, next story, though, is the one that was burned off the internet this week.
All
We
right.
may have our new Batman.
What? No. Ben Affleck is the Batman.
No, remember, Ben Affleck Batman seems to be no longer a thing. Ben Affleck, of course, pulled out of the Batman planned film. And the question was how they were going to approach casting for that role. Well, we now know that none other than sparkly vampire himself, Robert Pattinson, is in final talks to portray Batman in the new film.
See, I knew that vampire was a bat.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the name, Vampire Bat. It's like people often forget about the Vampire Bat or the Bat thing. Vampires, but yeah, they're pretty much one in one.
So we had bat nipples. Will we have sparkly bat?
So, all right, joking aside, I should say Robert Pattinson has been kind of in a lot of different stuff over the years. He's not just the Twilight guy.
Yes, even though he is most famously got his big break as Cedric Diggory in the Harry Potter films, as everyone knows.
But yeah, a lot of people on the internet have been right to compare this to way back in 1989 when Michael Keaton was slated to be Batman in the Tim Burton movie, and everybody freaked out, especially Batman fans, because everybody associated him with comic movies. And being a funny dude, nobody thought that Michael Keaton could do a serious role.
And then
it happened, and nobody was mad. So it's just another example of that. People often just assume and pigeonhole these actors in roles that were from 10 years ago that are just no longer relevant.
And then people got upset when George Clooney got cast as Batman because what's this doctor doing in a film?
This TV actor,
yes,
who at the time was known as a TV actor, to be in this big film. But yeah, things changed.
And then the internet got all the storm of Ben Affleck even being cast wait, we just had Christian Bale as the Batman. Why do we need to recast this? Also, we already gave him a superhero film, and he screwed that up. Why would we give him the Batman?
Yeah.
And that turned out fine.
So yeah. Anyways, what we're trying to say is do not pigeonhole Robert Pattinson. This could actually be a good fit. In case you're wondering about The Batman, the upcoming film, it will be directed by Matt Reeves, who of course is known for the remake of The Planet of the Apes.
The good remakes.
Yes, the good remake.
Yes, not that Tim Burton piece of shit.
Let's forget about that. Never happened. Which is slated, and this movie is slated for June 25th, 2021. Reeves assumed directing duties after Ben Affleck left the DCEU and allowed him to pick his own Batman. Pattinson will first shoot a Christopher Nolan film co-starring John David Washington, which is set to open on July 17th, 2020, not related to Batman.
No, but John David Washington of BlacKkKlansman and of Ballers.
I assumed our audience would know.
Yes. Well, you never know. Also, he is related to Denzel Washington. I must always bring that up whenever we talk about him.
Right, yes.
But that's a good pair casting for
that's good.
For a Christopher Nolan film.
Thumbs up.
That being said, Robert Pattinson has actually had a lot of good acting roles since the Twilight films.
Yeah.
I want to be clear on this.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yes.
This is not that much of a terrible decision. Also, like, one of the first reports said that he was like the youngest Batman ever cast.
I believe that.
That is wrong.
Oh.
Christian Bale was 30 when he was cast as Batman.
I didn't know he was so young.
Guess how old Robert Pattinson is then?
Is he 31?
He's 33.
33.
But he still looks like a kid.
Yeah.
It's those good model.
He's a younger looking dude.
It's those good model genes.
It is. Really.
Also, they look good on him as he's a model.
Gene model. Anyways, that's it for movie news. Did you see any films this week?
I did see a film.
All right.
I went and I saw Avengers Endgame.
Again.
Again, yes, it was been 3 weeks since I've seen it, and I decided. Well, one my other friend wanted to go see it.
Decided it was time.
I said it was time. Is this as good as I thought it was coming off of it, off the hype, or will this like hold up in repeat viewings?
All right, give it to us straight.
All right, I'm gonna give it to you straight shooter. It does.
Okay.
Period.
Even though it's long, did you notice the length as much this time?
I actually noticed the length more the first time watching than I did the second time.
Okay. Because, yeah, and that happens a lot when I watch something for a second time. I'll be like, oh, wow, I remember it taking longer to get to this point.
Right.
Because you have the memory of it.
Right, because I remember even like, okay, I know this is happening next.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually happening right now.
Right.
Not, I don't know what's happening, therefore I'm going into this very blindly.
Right. It's
So-
a different experience when you're watching something a second time.
It definitely is, and watching this a second time, I realized that I did like it as much as I did the first time. It definitely felt like a good companion piece to Infinity War.
Great.
That they go back to back. There's a lot of the notes still hit. I still cried. The ending is still the big bombastic battle that I hoped it would be.
Right.
Some of the stuff that irked me a little watching it the first time didn't get to me as much watching it on a repeat view. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
now that I know like where it's going, this doesn't feel too forced or too trite or like they're trying to do something out of the ordinary here. And it's a really good fan service film, which, well, I'll talk more about fan service when we get into TV.
Yes. So it's funny that you touched on a couple of those things because I also had some crossover with that conversation.
What?
I saw a movie for the second time.
You
as
saw
well.
a movie for a second time?
I saw Detective Pikachu a second time.
Oh, okay.
So, the reason why I bring it up is because, like you just said, watching a movie the second time is sometimes a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think I was maybe a little harsh last week. After seeing Detective Pikachu a second time, I forgive its sins a little more. I am a little less irked by kind of what you just said about Avengers, like the little stuff, like the logic leaps and the incomprehensibleness of a lot of it didn't matter as much the second viewing. I had a little bit more fun this time. I noticed some things I didn't notice the first time, and yeah, it kind of just turned off my brain for the whole thing. You know what? It's a good popcorn movie.
Right.
I mean, it's probably still the best video game movie. Like,
Well,
let's just
that
get
bar
that
is
across.
pretty low
It's a
to
pretty
begin
low bar,
with, but
yes, but like it's well enough put together where like seeing it a second time, I at least understood what the screenwriters were trying to do.
Mhm.
Like I got it this time. The first time I was like, "What the hell is this script? This is awful." The second time I'm like, "Okay, I get the pieces now. I get where they thought these pieces connected."
now that you see like in its whole entirety,
Now I see it in a hole, and I know what's going to happen. And I know what the twists are. I can see them coming, and thus be like, "Oh, okay, I see that they were hinting at this here. I see this leads directly into this. Makes a little bit more sense."
Mhm.
So I will forgive it a little bit more, and I rescind what I said last week about it being like unnecessary for people who don't like Pokemon. I'm easing up on that a little bit because I took my girlfriend, and she knows very little about Pokemon.
Mhm.
She had fun. She loved it.
okay,
So it does enough to like gracefully enter newcomers into the Pokemon world.
this being the first in a hopeful
Yeah.
cinematic universe, it does
Yeah.
what it's supposed to do.
Yes, it exactly does what it's supposed to do.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think it like so now being able to reflect on it a little bit more. It's maybe not as bad as I said it was last week.
I don't think we said it was bad.
I said it was bad.
Okay.
I know what I said. I said it was a bad movie. But like, yeah, looking back, it's better than I gave it credit for. It's fine. It's still not a good movie. It has too many issues for that. But it's a fun time if you have kids or if you want to watch something silly. It's definitely not as the gravitas aren't there like something like Endgame even. Like there's no emotion. Like there's maybe a emotional moment. Didn't make me get emotional, but like other people I could see it working for. But beside that, it's just a silly little popcorn movie.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. But other than that, I did not see any new movies this week.
No, that's the only movie I saw this week.
All right. Well, that means that we can move on. So let's talk about television, and we always start television by talking about sports.
All right, sports corner, sports time. What's on the sports?
Time. So, first up in sports, Stanley Cup final has been determined.
And my shrieking heart has been devastated.
It's the St. Louis Blues against the Boston Bruins. So, yeah, St. Louis versus Boston.
This is a B.
You know,
Stanley
old
Cup.
hockey towns.
Boston's a
closer.
hockey town.
It's closer than Missouri.
Missouri.
But yeah, not exactly the most traditional matchup here.
No, but Boston is the heavy favorite going into this thing. That being said, put your money on the Blues. Otherwise, you'll be singing the blues.
Ha. So yeah, that's happening in hockey. Meanwhile, in the NBA, the Golden State Warriors
Swept.
They will be competing against either the Bucks or the Raptors. That series is tied 2-2.
Yep. This means that the Warriors have a long time to rest up, and
Drake is on the edge of his seat right now.
No, he's gone from his seat.
Oh, sorry.
His butt is no longer in the seat, and rather his hands are on the coach's shoulders. I don't know if you see this picture.
No, I haven't.
But he's on the court, hands on the coach's shoulders, going like, yeah!
He really wants a hands-on approach to being a fan.
Well, he's not a fan. He's a part owner.
Well, that too. But he's also a fan. You can be a part owner and also a fan.
I think, like Mark Cuban?
Yes, exactly.
Well, because he's not a part owner. He is the
owner. But yeah, so we'll see who comes ahead in that race. But yeah, regardless, it's the Warriors again because of course it is.
Yeah.
They're the current dynasty.
Speaking of getting ahead in a race, we had the Preakness this weekend.
We did. We had a horse race. War of Will won the Preakness.
Who is War of Will?
Why? It's the same horse that got maximum security disqualified at the Kentucky Derby last time.
You mean that horse could have won and been on its way to a Triple Crown
Yes,
had it not been for maximum security?
Sure enough, but it did not.
No.
So here we are with two different winners. No Triple Crown this year.
No Triple Crown.
But yes, this is the second of three. So we have to look forward to, what's the last one?
Ring in. Come on, you know
the
this.
Belmont Stakes.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the last one. So yes, I guess the horse racing waits on that last victor.
That'll be in 2 weeks, I think.
All right.
Yeah, the first weekend of June, which is 2 weeks.
Okay. Meanwhile, in football or soccer news, FIFA has decided to stick with the 32-team tournament instead of expanding to 48 teams for their 2022 FIFA World Cup.
Yeah, they had the option to add one more team to each pool and bracket. They, being dicks, decided not to do that. So now we're stuck with 32 teams, which is 4 teams in 8 brackets, and that's how we determine all that round robin play. I wish they would have done this so that way you could have at least even teams to where you're not having like ties at the very end.
Yeah, all I know is that I don't care about this one because we have the Women's World Cup this year.
Yeah, we do. Women's World Cup is literally 1 month away. So excited.
Can't wait.
It's all the French we can have. all the French soccer. All the French
soccer.
You know how much we talk about the French food during this thing?
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Oh, the French cuisine.
Anyways. Anything else about sports before we move out?
The softball, NCAA softball is currently going on. The Super Regionals, I think, are happening. Same with NCAA baseball. They're usually about a week behind. Also, some really bad shit finally went down in college. Athletics at Ohio or Oklahoma or one of those states. One of those O states where he went, that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
But the other state of here or there. Well, it's really over there and was then, but it's not here now, even though we're talking about it here and now.
In real life sports, I will be going to the Angels game on Friday.
Oh, you're coming?
I'm going.
What?
with my family. I told you a long time ago I was going to go with my sister to Star Wars night.
To Star Wars night?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're in the boonies though. We're like in the seats in the back of the stadium.
The 500s?
Like we're over there.
Oh, come and say hi. We probably have seats next to you.
Oh, I'll text them. It's gonna be a long game. I'm sure we'll see each other at one point.
Well, it's going to be a whole 9 innings, and hopefully we get some 7 runs for Chick-fil-A. Some Chick-fil-A.
Hey, I'll take Chick-fil-A if I don't have to pay the company for it.
Oh no, it's free Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, like I said, if it's free, I'll take
Yeah.
it. Anyways, but that's not news.
No. Well, we do need to talk about some TV news, though.
We do, because it was a big week in TV for a couple of reasons. One if you're a dragon, and one if you're an aardvark.
All right, well, let's talk about the aardvark because it starts with an A.
All right, yes, alphabetical order. That means we talk about Arthur. Can you believe that Arthur is still on the air? Arthur,
22 seasons, I believe.
22 seasons of Arthur. Good for Arthur.
I believe that's our entire adult life.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's like our entire
Good.
life.
Like our entire cognizant life.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. As far as
That
I
means we
know,
were like the first generation for Arthur.
yeah, as far as
Wow.
we've been able to recall what's on television, Arthur has been a program on television.
Yeah.
Give or
That's
take it.
weird to think
Weird
about.
to think about. But yes, Arthur is in the news this week, not because of the length of the show, but because of what it portrayed this week in its episode.
So, if you've not been watching any news this week,
Or been on the internet.
or been on the internet,
You won't know that on Arthur, a character, Arthur's teacher, Mr. Ratburn, married Patrick. Ratburn is a rat, by the way. Married
You don't
Patrick in the show's first gay marriage ceremony. Also, kind of one of the first ones in animation. Technically, Steven Universe
did it
it first
first.
last year with their depiction of a gay marriage. But this was a big deal because this is a show that's aimed towards a slightly younger audience than Steven Universe.
not only that, but this is a show on the
Public
public
television.
broadcasting.
Yes, it is public television,
Yeah.
which makes it
PBS.
a little bit of a different
Sys-
thing than cable.
What's that?
What? System.
PBS, is public broadcasting system?
System.
That didn't sound right in my head.
System. Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah.
I don't get why. There was a period of time in television where they called things systems, like Turner Broadcasting System.
I guess I'm explaining the
Yeah,
TBS.
it's just system.
Yeah,
Some
okay.
people go system. But yeah, anyways, well, not everybody is super thrilled about the portrayal of something 100% normal that happens all the time in real life on television. Who'd have thunk?
So, apparently, this is where Arthur gets involved in time travel.
Yeah.
As we're going back to like the 1960s
Yeah,
or 70s.
because back in Alabama, the Alabama Public Television branch of PBS chose not to air the recent Arthur episode. The director of programming at APT, Mike McKenzie, sent a message in mid-April alerting stations to, quote, possible viewer concerns about the content of the program. After he and others at APT viewed the episode, they decided not to broadcast it, showed a rerun instead. They said, quote, parents have trusted the Alabama Public Television for more than 50 years to provide children's programs that entertain, educate, and inspire. More importantly, parents trust that their children can watch APT without their supervision. McKenzie also said that if APT had aired the episode, the station would have taken away the choice of parents who felt it was inappropriate for their children. So yeah, we don't need to unpack this for you. This is dumb. This is something that kids are just are going to see in their real lives. This is a normal thing, two people getting married.
But think of the children.
I am thinking of the children. I think it's great for the children to see the fact that this does happen. So if they do find in their lives themselves questioning their sexuality, that they don't feel like it's a taboo or something that they can't commit to and that they have to keep hidden.
But they're like pre-kindergarten. They shouldn't be thinking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, but it's like that argument doesn't make any sense because they're not even sexualized at that age anyways. They're not thinking about straight marriage either. So why does it matter? It's like I think it's important as a kid to be shown all of these things because that's when your brain is kind of trying to grasp these things that are beyond it.
But think of the children.
All right.
You're taking away my right to raise my kid by showing this on a public-funded television station.
I know you're playing devil's advocate here.
I know. You see my horns?
Yes, like I saw them growing out. But yeah, it's a dumb argument.
Oh, no,
it doesn't really
it
hold
is.
any water. And it's very telling that this is the only station that is doing this.
Oh, yes. Only in Alabama is this thing news.
Yeah.
Which is weird because we had a thing about Georgia last week.
Right. Yeah.
And now it's Alabama.
And Alabama, weirdly enough.
I bet Florida's going to be next week on something.
Hey, I gotta toe that Florida-Georgia line. Anyways, but yeah, whatever. I think it's very cool that Arthur did this. I think it's a really good statement. Because the bar keeps moving up as more of these shows keep raising it. Like, it's just amazing that we're getting to the point where even a show on public television like Arthur can make a statement like this and be like, nah, this is normal. These characters are just like the people who you see in real life.
Well, can't you be happy for these? Well, I guess it's a rat.
Also,
be happy
did you see
for
them
the
in their
rat.
suits? They're so cute.
I'm sorry. No.
You have to look up screenshots of their wedding. It's adorable. A rat and an aardvark got married.
Wait, is it aardvark?
Yeah.
I thought they were rats.
Ratburn is a rat.
Right?
I believe that the other man involved is an aardvark.
Really?
Yes.
Why is that not more of the focus of this thing?
You're saying that they should be more mad about it being interspecies?
Yes.
Well,
I feel like that would be a more Alabama thing than...
yeah.
than
No, they're totally fine with that. They're weirdly enough totally fine. All right. Let's move on.
Anyways,
because
it's
we have to
cartoon.
talk about the big dragon in the room. I mean, elephant in the room.
Yeah. Anyways, it's a cartoon. It's fictionalized.
Yeah.
It's nothing to get all huffy puffy about. Also, since you know this is happening as an adult watching the news, you could, I don't know, not watch the episode for that day.
Yeah, or like you could let your kids watch this instead of the other big thing on television this week, which I'm sure some kids probably got subjected to against their will. Game of Thrones.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Big Bang Theory.
Oh God, I hope not. But yeah, Game of Thrones was of course your biggest news in television this week. Its series finale aired on HBO, and it set some records.
All right.
Across.
What did it break besides the throne?
Yeah,
and the wheel.
HBO Go, and HBO Now. The conclusion of the series drew 19.3 million viewers, overtaking the previous series high of 18.4 million viewers.
No, not series. Previous record.
Well, that's not what you have written here.
Okay.
Anyways, this previous record, I guess, of a series high.
Yeah.
Which was just last week, of 18.4 million viewers who tuned into the finale of The Big Bang Theory on CBS.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, 13.6 million people watched the 9 p.m. telecast on HBO alone, breaking the record for the single biggest telecast in HBO history. Previous record, of course, was a season 4 premiere of The Sopranos in 2002, which drew for 13.4 million.
So it's a hit. It's a hit. We should not cancel this thing.
Well,
this is a hit.
Well, it got canceled.
It got canceled.
It's over. But yeah, HBO president programming Casey Bloys explained that in an interview following the finale that, quote, "I don't think there's any way that all fans would have been happy. I think based on online reaction, which you do have to take with a grain of salt, it does seem split, and I think that's about right. Some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it. But the point is, everybody's feeling really passionate about it. They will begin production on one prequel show in the summer, but do not have any plans right now, at least, of making a show that directly ties into Game of Thrones."
Yes. These will be shows set in the Game of Thrones universe, and it's for anything tied to like a post Game of Thrones, like what happens to Arya, what happens to Jon, what happens to
all those
characters. No, they're not gonna see those characters. Not gonna mention those characters unless they do these prequels and they catch up to that timeline.
And I believe this is a perfect segue. So, like the man said, some people are gonna love it, some people are gonna hate it. What did you think, as our resident Game of Thrones watcher here at the Media Boat Podcast, about the series finale?
So I was watching The Throne.
Yeah.
Doing my night's watch.
Don't let you get into your zone.
I'm going to get in my zone. Before I get in my zone,
Okay.
I have news, or at least thoughts from the doctor.
Okay, we got thoughts.
Yes.
Hot off the presses here.
Hot off the presses. She has seen the pilot episode, the second episode,
And then the finale.
and then the entire season 8.
Oh, okay, got it.
So, going off of that, her thoughts are, it felt rushed, but I loved the production. And that about sums up a lot of what the internet is saying. Is that this felt rushed. Why was it only 6 episodes? But it's beautiful to look at. I can't fault anyone except the writers here. And I can get that. I get that.
Well, what did you think? Having watched the show in its entirety.
Having watched the show in its entirety, I think that this is the ending that we got.
That's not an opinion.
It is an opinion. It's the opinion of this is what we're given because we can't look at the books for source material.
Right, because it's not
Because they're not
anymore.
Well, one, they kind of skewed away from it. 2, they're not even released yet.
Yeah.
And 3, George R. R. Martin's just going to sit on this thing and never release it. Ever. He's teased about it, but that's part of what the show was built on. This show was built on subverting the fantasy genre. This show was built on subversion. Built on not having your characters do what you think they're going to do. Built on everything being a mystery. Built on things not going how you want them. How your hero's not always winning. And that things happen and you just have to roll with it. Mm-hmm. That's what the show was built on. And for it to go from that to this semi-predictable ending because it's a TV show and it has to have a happy ending because Hollywood ending makes it feel betrayed in a sense. I think that there are some things that were set throughout, but because I did it in 6 episodes instead of another 1 or 2 seasons that they could have built out. Yeah. It could have had a better roundabout ending to everything. Felt more satisfying. But the showrunners were hired to adapt the books with the hope that since the 2 next books were announced, that he was making 2 more books and that they were going to be released, that, well, we'll stretch this out as much as we can with what we have, and they should be released within the next years. And here we are, 10 years since they started production on the first episode, and those books haven't been released. And so, as much as people blame the writers, I blame George R. R. Martin more because he gave them a synopsis of what was expected, of what he had planned for these characters in a synopsis. And we've seen in recent news what a synopsis is compared to what the full thing is. Yeah. A 4-page synopsis compared to a 400-page actual, detailed briefing of what happened in this world. Not naming names here, of course.
Of course.
No. But when you're given that synopsis and you have to draw your own conclusions from it, that's what we get. And that's what we got. So I can't really fault anyone for how this turned up. But that's why I put all blame on George R. R. Martin, because this thing isn't released. Yeah. Therefore, they're basically shooting in the dark, like, okay, we know these characters have done this.
Apparently they really were shooting in the dark a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah, they were shooting in the dark. That being said, I loved all the production on this. Yeah. I think that some of these battles and sequences and scenes are great. It does kind of irks me when fans get too emotional about it, when it's pointing out like, oh look, there's a coffee cup in that scene, or oh look, there's a water bottle behind that leg. If you zoom in real close, you can see it. Like, I'm watching the whole thing, not being super nitpicky about it. And as a casual fan of Game of Thrones, and I say that with the most casual of things, to where I'm watching videos on theories about how the show should end, what they set up, and what's coming next.
Yeah.
And let's break down this upcoming episode for 20 minutes. Like, I watched all the... Well, listened to, watched, same thing. Watched all of those. And I can see how some fans are, like, mad because they set up prophecies and stuff within the show that they don't pay off.
Right.
But that's also life. Life's not a life-fulfilling prophecy. It happens. It doesn't. It's a prophecy that might happen, that should happen, but no one can predict the future, and that's ultimately like what the show's about, is that it's unpredictability. And so if you have these prophecies that you need to fulfill, then everyone's going to be pointing and waiting for that to happen while being like, ooh, blindsided over here. And then you're like, no, but I'm looking over here. But the action's over here. But I'm looking right here because this needs to happen. Mm-hmm. But this is actually what's happening. But this is what needs to happen because prophecy. Yeah, but all this thing is happening right here. Pay attention over here. Yeah, but this thing.
So that's what this has created is the kind of this question this week that's been talked about a lot on the internet, which is like, how much do creators of things have to care about what the fans are saying on the internet? How much does it matter if the fans are like, no, but we want it to be this way because of all these theories that said it was gonna be this way? It's almost like the discourse that happened with The Last Jedi again.
With the Star Wars.
Where it's just like fans care so much about this stuff. They care so much that it's like their lifeblood is to spend so much time developing these theories that as soon as the creators thing that they wrote a long time ago actually finally happens, they're like, this isn't what we've wanted. How much of what creators want and the fans want, how much is that going to clash now when this is just a normal fan interaction for a big thing like this?
Right. And that's one thing that I brought up with Avengers, it being that it paid off a lot of fan service.
Yeah.
But that's what Game of Thrones was never about. It was never about fan service. It was never about a fantasy.
Yeah.
And nor should anything be about fan service. It's about whatever the showrunners, or in this case the author, wants the story to be told. That's what they're going off of.
Yeah.
Not what the fans want, not what the fans think, not what, oh, I have this theory that would make it really good. No. That's good that you have those theories. That's good that you have those thoughts. Yeah. But
it's fun to imagine stuff about a world.
Right. But
ultimately, it's not up to you. You're not being paid by the network to come
up with the story. That's where I was going with. Is that until you get paid to actually sit in a room with other writers and write this thing out, you literally have no say on where the story goes.
But I do want to make something clear that there is a line between being critical of something and starting a petition to change it.
Oh, yes.
I want to make that clear. I'm not saying it is bad to critique things that you see on television or movies. I mean, we do it all the time here on this podcast. Mm-hmm. It is good to have your voice heard. If you didn't like something, by all means, put up a blog or something about the reasons why you didn't like it. Because hopefully what that does, it starts a discourse about the why. And for future things, like, for example, these creators' future work on a Star Wars trilogy that got confirmed. Mm-hmm. Maybe they'll take some of the things to heart about the way that they treat their characters and treat their narrative. It is not, however, your job to say, yeah, but you need to take this back, put it back in the oven for a while, and put it and serve it to me the way I want it specifically. That is not an option. It's not a Pizza Hut. You can't call the Pizza Hut and be like, you screwed up my pizza. I need a new pizza. No, it's not. It's not that kind of transaction. Game of Thrones ended the way Game of Thrones ended. You're not gonna be able to change it through the sheer power of fandom.
Actually, that would be a great idea.
What?
To put up like an Indiegogo of, or whatever, Kickstarter of raising a bunch of money to reshoot the final season and see if people will actually pour money into it.
Oh, I'm sure some idiots would. But you shouldn't do that.
No, you shouldn't.
But yeah, it's dumb. But like, people get really invested in things, and the internet has given a lot of people like the power to turn that kind of in a nasty way, as opposed to just a supportive, critical way.
Right, and when you have social media platforms where everyone's a critic and can voice their own opinions, it can get lost into not only like thinking for yourself and being critical of what you saw and how you enjoyed it or your experience with whatever creative outlet media it is, but that doesn't mean that you can attack other people for creating something, for actually like putting time and effort and work into something that they deemed was worthy of their time and effort.
And again, we're not saying that you can't be harsh. You can definitely be harsh.
Oh yes, no, criticism is welcome.
Yeah.
But there's that line between criticizing something and attacking.
Just wishing something that does, like, the impossible, like something that doesn't happen. Like, this, I feel like this Sonic the Hedgehog thing is going to screw a lot of people's brains up. Because people complained and the director said, okay, we'll take him back, we'll change him. That is exactly what's not supposed to happen.
Right.
That tells the fans that they wield too much power. That's ceding like artistic like control to the people who buy your product. It's like at that point it almost ceases to be art. It becomes this thing that's made by committee, and that is not what Game of Thrones or Sonic the Hedgehog movie should be. Even though I don't care about Sonic the Hedgehog, I still want it to be the thing that the director or the team that made the film wanted it to be.
Right, you want it to be their interpretation, their take on it.
And what's the point of telling your story if you're going to tell your story and then have immediately thrown back at you and say that it's wrong? That's not what storytelling is or has ever been in the history of the world. But anyways.
All right, can we step off these soapboxes?
Yes. But yeah, for once we're on the same page with this, though. That's very exciting. We're rarely in agreement about this kind of thing.
We'll be in agreement a lot more with stuff. Because Game of Thrones wasn't the only thing to end this week on TV.
It wasn't. There was a cavalcade of both series and season finales.
The first one that hits both of those marks, and that'd be The Big Bang Theory.
This was technically last week, as you mentioned.
Yes. I think it was last Tuesday or Wednesday, but
yeah, the biggest sitcom.
Thursday,
I would say probably up till its cancellation on television. It was a huge hit for CBS. It lasted forever. What was it, 11, 12 seasons? 11?
16?
No, not that long.
14? Right? Yeah, it was a long... I should have put that down.
I don't know.
Yeah, it ran forever.
An incredibly long time on the air. Obviously a divisive show.
Yes.
It seems like it's something that you either really, really love or really, really hate.
Yes, and also there are video essays out there breaking down why you shouldn't like this show.
But at the same time, though, like, you know, I've a little eased up on my position about this over the years. Like, I don't like it. I will choose not to watch it. I will actively avoid it. That being said, like, it's pretty harmless. Like, of all, like at the end of the day, it's like, sure, if this is something that somebody likes to giggle at, then fine. It's like something you can put on and like it won't really annoy, it won't offend, it will just exist. It's just background noise, and you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, I watched not only the 2-part finale, but also like the last like introspective. We'll take you around the studio for it and give you that stuff.
Do you think like it ended in a way that like felt right for like a show of like that's gonna go down as like an important sitcom, you could say?
On a comedy show level, rivaling that success of Friends.
Yeah.
I'd say this show has hit that mark.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not like How I Met Your Mother, which was supposed to be the successor to Friends, but then completely botched it the last 2 seasons. This show always knew what it was about.
Yeah.
It always knew what jokes it wanted to tell. And when it got to the final season, even though it was still making the same jokes, that was totally fine and totally okay. Because, 1, it knew its audience. 2, that formula is trite and true and will bend but never break.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, it's a nice ending. It's a good ending. It got to the peak of scientific achievement and ended in a way of 2 different speeches. One, not only like expressing like its hope to its audiences, but also in a weird meta way saying thank you to the cast.
Uh-huh.
I was just saying thank you for sticking through all this craziness and debauchery that we put you through.
Yeah.
Because, one, we paid you a shit ton of money to do it.
Yeah,
and you'll never have to work another day in your life
I was
for
gonna
it.
say, the network should not be thanking them. They should be thanking that network because, like, the network should be thanking them for leaving because they don't have to pay them millions of dollars anymore.
Well, that's paid in royalties, but it's the weird meta way of
That's
like
not the
saying
network at that point. That's the production studio.
Right, but it's the weird meta way of the writers saying thank you to the characters.
Sure, yeah.
For
doing the
for not just doing the scripts, but having such great chemistry week in and week out.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. That being said, when they did the introspective part of it, I was like, wow, did I really watch that many episodes? Because
You recognize?
I recognized like about 80 to 90% of what they referenced. I was like, yeah, I remember that happening. I remember that. Like, yeah, did I really watch that many stuff, or did I just catch it? Did I just catch it all on replay?
Well, I feel like
that. That's like only played the hits.
A show like that is on the air. Like, even if you don't watch it, you absorb it by osmosis.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Friends was like that for a lot of people too. Like back in that era, where it's like, yeah, it's like you just absorb these things culturally. Whether it's other people referencing it, whether it's being on TV and reruns for 10 years. You know, you just see stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can absorb it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, like, that's cool to see that they actually did a decent job with it going out. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how television history treats it. Because I do think that it's going to be, like, this touchstone. I think it'll also be notable as being the last massive multi-camera hit.
Yeah.
It's the last of its kind, really. Like
a live studio audience.
Yeah, live studio audience multicam set is like getting very, very rare now. And like, I don't really know. Can you name one currently airing?
Yes.
What?
Abby's. But that's because
that's right.
I just mentioned that like 2 weeks ago. But had I not seen that, I don't think I would have been able to name one.
And Fox just canceled the ones that they put out on last season.
Right, the Cool Kids and whatever the other.
They still have Last Man Standing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can name one.
So we can name one that is currently in production.
Last Man Standing is still airing.
Yes.
And
Abby's got a second season.
So, okay, there's at least 2. But they're not hits the way that Big Bang Theory was a hit.
No.
So I don't know. Maybe that will be the last of its kind.
Maybe. It's a dying breed.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, because even the spin-off Young Sheldon isn't multicam.
No, it's single cam.
Yeah.
So yeah, like has a legacy of sorts on the network. It just isn't the same.
Right.
All right.
Is Mom still on?
Mom, I believe, is still on.
Okay, so that makes sense.
I guess Mom is. Yeah, but again, Emmys aside, that is not the same kind of hit.
Right.
Like it's been an awards show, but it has not been a ratings show.
No.
But let's talk about a show that is not a ratings show either.
Saturday Night Live.
No.
Oh.
It is technically also an awards show, though. It has won an Emmy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that season also ended this past weekend with Paul Rudd as the host.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah. There's a lot of more misses than hits. They're sticking a lot with the political stuff. I wish they would get away, but when that's what dominates the news.
In fact, I noticed that I looked at like who's been on this season, and I realized I only watched the first 2 episodes of the season before I dropped off. I was like, oh, that's exactly where I left off after 2 shows. So yeah, I am not. Yeah, I'm probably not going back until they get a refresh.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah. Anyways, but what I'm trying to talk about is another show with dragons. Kingdoms, Dragon Cycles.
Dragon Cycles.
Dragon.
I thought you'd go reverse with Kingdoms, Magic, and Dragon
Magic,
Cycles.
Dragon Cycles.
I thought that's how you go with it.
Monsters, big battles.
Epic lore.
Yeah, all of the above.
Time travel.
That I think nailed the landing in a way that Game of Thrones could never even imagine.
And did in half the seasons.
Yeah, exactly half the season. Of course, we're talking about Star Wars: The Force of Evil.
Yes.
You know that we're fans. We're big fans of the show here. Very sad to see it go.
However, even though it's gone, it definitely left an impact.
Oh man! So this season has, I think, been the best season of the show.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot because season 2 and 3 are also very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
But what they did here was they made it feel like things were happening to continue the plot while also making it feel like they were wrapping up and tying up loose ends, and you didn't even realize that they were. Like the finale of this show is presented in a way where it's like, yeah, we're going to wrap this up. The whole time we've been wrapping this up, and you didn't even realize it.
Yeah, the 4-part finale, because
Yeah.
it feels like 4 parts,
Yeah.
with an epilogue,
Yeah.
is some of the best written animated TV I have seen in a long time.
It's fantastic. They do the thing that, from what I've been told, that Game of Thrones didn't do this season, which is they actually took care of the characters. They were like, what is special about these characters? Let's spend some time with each of these characters and really delve into why they matter in this show's lore, and let's give them the send-offs that they deserve. Every single character gets their time in this season.
Which is insane when you think about how many characters are in the show.
It's a lot.
Because not only do they take care of the monsters in the show, not only do they take care of the human story in the show, not only do they take care of the magic in the show, which I thought was really tongue-in-cheek. In a throwaway gag, they explain a lot of the magic stuff.
Yeah, totally.
But they explain the magic aspect of it, the whole magical dimension. Had its own episode and finale that got paid off at the end as well.
But my favorite thing that they did in the finale, and this is going to have light spoilers, I don't want to spoil too much about it, because I do want to encourage people to go and watch this thing if they haven't. Because there's not a whole lot of episodes, like 4 seasons with about 20.
It's about 18, I think.
So you're talking about
18 to 20 episodes.
Under 90 episodes of the show. So by all means, very digestible. You can watch this in a weekend if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the things that I really loved that they did in the finale, that a lot of finales have a problem with, is that there is an event that kind of leaves the fate of many characters in question. And what a weaker show would have done was tear the story away from the lead character and actually take time to be like, this character is doing this now. But what this show did is that in the perspective of the main character of the show, there is a conversation that is had where they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so, this is probably what they're doing. They're probably fine. And the show uses that as a way to end that other character's arc without actually committing to what actually happened to them, which I think is genius. It's a way to give the audience the feeling that person is resolved, because you in your heart know, you know what, that is probably what that character is doing now, without necessarily having to tear you out of the moment and try to panicked resolve everything in a rush. I thought it was really smart.
No, it was really great. They do a lot of great things here.
Yeah.
One of the things I thought they did really well was with the kids. And used something that they already had established in an alternate dimension of time.
Yeah.
And fast forward, so it's like, oh, like, I know you like these two characters together because they work well together.
Yeah.
But we also know that we can't really pay off that amount of time with these two.
Right.
With these characters. So let's use what we have and fast forward it to get that payoff.
Yes.
And not only that, but to advance the plot of what we're currently working on as well.
Yeah. Also, I mean, you touched on this earlier, but I think one of the coolest things that this thing does It's a show that is willing to take its entire conceit and remove it from the world of the fiction at the end of the show.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not even the craziest thing that happens to the world of the show. The craziest thing is at the very end what they decide to do with the show's universes.
Yeah.
So it does two things that are like completely like you can't do that, and does it anyways, and makes it work and makes it believable.
So, so had I watched this thing on a weekly basis, I would not have been able to sit still because it leaves you on such cliffhangers where you want to see the next thing, but you're going to have to wait a week. I was lucky enough, like I've been super lucky enough, to start binge watching this at a certain point, and then just happen to like be all caught up when the season finale aired.
See, give or take, I have watched this naturally. I have watched this since it started on a weekly basis. I have not binged it. But I still really enjoyed it because it was exciting, and also it doesn't really count this season though because this season they put 2 episodes, which is technically 4 episodes every week for this last season. So it was like technically I was kind of watching them in 2s.
Okay.
But for the most part, the show has been a weekly show, and so like it was an interesting thing in this kind of age of. That we're just going to drop everything at once kind of show. I don't know if there's too much more to talk about, but yeah, it's great. If you missed it, by all means, go catch up.
Or just wait for Disney Plus and then just binge the hell out of it.
I plan on, by the way, I know this came out last year, but there's a book that is kind of like, I guess, a real-life equivalent of her Magic Book of Spells.
Okay.
That you can get off of Amazon, and I think I might actually buy it now.
Because really?
It's written by the creator and the team.
Darren Nufsey.
And the team of writers, and so it's like, it's canon. It's all like canon in the show.
So it's like Gravity Falls' third book?
Exactly like that, yeah. So it's like, it'll be cool. I almost want to get just to see if there was stuff in there that hinted at or fleshed out the ideas that they couldn't have gotten to in the last season, because there is a couple of unanswered questions. Not to say that they didn't do a good job resolving; they did, but it was like they left a couple of things open that I don't want to talk about here because of spoilers. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if that book kind of goes into some of that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Definitely something that goes up there with Gravity Falls. Speaking of Gravity Falls, as like some of the all-time great stuff from this
cartoon renaissance we're having.
Seriously. Speaking of, by the way, I just learned this week that if you are an Adventure Time fan, they are putting out an entire series collector set of Adventure Time.
Ooh.
So if that is something that interests you, that is a product you can purchase. It comes with extras and like. I think that it comes with like a map and stuff and like physical goods.
Okay.
So like
like a legit box set.
Yeah, a legit box set, the entire series. So yeah, super fans should absolutely check that out if that sounds interesting to them.
Okay. Do we talk about Star anymore? Because like we can go to a whole lot of spoilers and how good this thing is. Like nitpicking everything.
I think we did a pretty good job. We do that off pod.
Yeah, we do that off pod.
But yeah, the last thing we briefly want to talk about, I guess Brooklyn Nine-Nine wrapped up this season.
Yeah, this was its first season on NBC.
I thought it was okay. Initially, there was some growing pains for me at the beginning of the season where I was like, it's fine, but it's not as good as it is. But I think they found a groove toward the end of the season. I really liked a lot of the episodes. I liked the stuff that they did with seeing Gina off.
Yeah.
I liked how they did the last couple episodes of this season.
I liked the Case-cation.
Yeah.
I liked the double ending, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that stuff was fun.
That stuff was good.
It was a good way of being like, hey, remember these characters. Let's do something with these characters.
I liked the Cinco de Mayo episode.
That was fun. Because they knew that they weren't going to be on in October.
Yeah.
Just so funny. It's like, wait, the writers had a panic. It's like, oh no, we don't have a Halloween episode this year.
Yeah, I think after like the first 4 episodes,
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 episodes, they found the groove. They found out what they could play with the new
Yeah.
rules of not only the bleeps and the blurs.
Right, but they
really like retooled the characters. Like, okay, they're in these new aspects, they're in these new like roles,
Yeah.
but we can still have fun with them, and they were able to figure that out and move forward with it, and it's got its own footing by the very end, and I'm happy to see it
So yeah,
continue.
I'll definitely keep watching through the next season. I'm interested to see what else they do with it. Even though it's still, you can tell that they're running on fumes at this point with that
Yeah.
show. There's only so much you can do with that premise, and yeah, they're running out of promotions for these characters to get.
They're running out of big ideas, but there's definitely a lot of small ideas they
Yeah,
can
for
see
sure.
hidden.
There's a little fun they can. There's a lot of fun that they can have with the little stuff.
All right, speaking of little stuff,
We have to move
We
on.
have to move
and
on.
talk about the rest of the world of cancellations and renewals.
oh yes, because we not only did we watch stuff got canceled.
Yeah, so first up, or renewed. First up, I think we talked about this last week, but The Bold Type on Freeform renewed for a 4th season.
I don't know if we talked about it or not, but it's there.
Miracle Workers, which you have Miracle Workers in parentheses as well, so I don't know if that's what network that's on.
Oh, that's TBS.
Okay, that's on TBS. That's been renewed for a 2nd season.
Yes,
On the Miracle Workers network.
it'll have the same cast, but deal with a different time period. I think they're going to talk about like the Middle Ages.
I
instead.
see. The Last OG will get a 3rd season on TBS. Madam Secretary, contrary to what we said last week, has been canceled after 6 seasons.
I
So
think
we'll
this
return
upcoming
for a final season.
well, this upcoming 6th season that got renewed for will be its last.
Shout out to Revelation Entertainment. You found your hit and you wrote it for 6 seasons.
Now make a movie.
They used to not pay me to make their coffee in the morning. Yeah, thanks guys. Anyways, The Tick has been canceled over on Prime Video. I saw some people up in arms on Twitter about that. Apparently, that was a good show. But I don't have Amazon Video.
I think you do with Amazon Prime.
Technically, but oh no, not my Prime. My Prime is a family Prime. I only have the 2-day shipping. I
Right.
do not have
Your
the television
dad has access
or the
to
music.
Your dad has access to
Yes.
that, which he doesn't use.
Right. Humans has been canceled after 30 seasons on AMC. Humans, we're all canceled.
Hey, it's the end of the world on
We're all
AMC.
canceled. So that's it for cancellations and renewals. Deaths. We have a couple deaths. Niki Lauda, age 70, Austrian racing driver, who was a world champion in 1975, 1977, and 1984. I think we're stretching our premise a little bit with that one.
This was the big one in sports world that died.
Yeah, I guess this counts as sports.
Yeah, he was also part of the Ron Howard film Rush. That inspiration took off of Niki Lauda's racing there.
I see.
Yeah.
Also, Melvin Edmonds, age 65, an R&B singer in After 7. That is a group or is
Group.
that okay?
That's a group after 7.
Got that right. All right, that's it for cancellations.
Cancel.
Yeah, human cancellations.
Human cancellation.
Humans got canceled, and also those humans got canceled. Then additionally, it's time to talk about music.
Oh, we always start music with the Billboard, and we always start Billboard with the Hot 100.
Yes, what's the #1 song burning up the charts again this week?
The #1 song is the newly signed Lil Nas X with Old Town Road.
Still Old Town Road. Still #1 song in the country. Country radio still will not play it.
Well, guess what? I don't care.
Everyone else will play it.
No.
What?
#2 is I Don't Care.
Oh, yes, I don't care.
Yes, the new song by Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber is I Don't Care. That's #2.
I also don't care.
Also care about that song. #3
It's
is the
you know
same.
What? I heard that song. It's fine. It's better than Shape of You.
Okay.
That's what I will say about the song I Don't Care by Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber. It's fine and it's better than Shape of You.
I'll do it to a
It's
listen
less
then.
creepy than Shape of You. I think that's most of it for me.
All right. #3 is Sucker, or I'm a Sucker for You
Sucker.
by the Jonas Brothers.
Yep.
#4, Bad Guy by Billie Eilish.
I want to note that this is the first time that Billie Eilish has a single in the top 5. Her album has been in the top 100 or top 200, sorry, for albums for a bunch of weeks now. But yeah, this is the first time one of her singles has cracked the top 5.
Yep. And number 5, Wow, period,
Wow.
by Post Malone.
Wow.
All right, as for your Billboard 200,
200.
Number 1, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind by Logic.
Yeah, I didn't see this coming.
No one did. Well, yeah, I guess something to add to your
I guess it
music list.
defies logic.
It defies Logic.
Sorry.
Yeah,
guess
why should I
will-
think of that one?
I will have to eventually listen to that.
Number 2, When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Question mark, by Billie Eilish.
Yep.
Number 3, Free Spirit by Khalid. Number 4, Space Between by Sammy Hagar and The Circle.
Yes.
This is weird. I bet his tickets went on
I was
sale.
going to say.
And that's why they're up there.
Tickets.
All those tickets. And number 5, Thank You, Coming Next by Ariana Grande. We'll never leave.
We'll never leave.
All right.
I wonder
Well,
if that will be your best-selling album of the year. It just might.
it just might be. But we have new releases. First up, we have Guards with Guards by Modern Hymns.
No.
Nope,
You got
I had
it
it
right
right.
the first time.
Guards with
Go with your gut.
Modern Hymns. I had it right.
Yeah.
Kate LeBon with Reward.
I'll be checking that out.
Flying Lotus with Flamagra. Honeyblood with In Plain Sight.
I will also be checking that out.
Joan as policewoman
Yes.
in Joanthology or Joanthology.
Sure, either way.
Justin Townes Earl with The Saint of the Lost Causes. Morrissey, yes, that Morrissey,
Ugh.
with California Sun.
California sun.
Bum, 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 bum.
Okay, sorry.
Sabato with Act Surprised.
Okay, I will.
Sting, that's Sting?
Yes, that's Sting.
That's Sting.
One
With,
and only.
with my songs.
His songs.
Not your songs.
Yeah.
Or his songs.
Sting songs.
Not even Sting songs.
My songs.
It's my songs.
His songs.
We also have YG with For Real, For Real,
For real?
For Real.
For real.
Yeah, like Connor For Real?
Yeah.
Yeah, For Real.
For real.
I guess that means that movie has finally hit everything, right? Right?
Maybe.
Pop Star has finally hit everything?
I don't know. I've never seen an album premiere through a washing machine. That has yet to happen. So we'll see.
It's possible. And lastly, we have Steve Lacy with Apollo XXI. Or Apollo 21, however you want
Either one.
to say it. Alright.
All right. Thank you for those new releases.
Well, let's talk about music news now.
Why not?
First up, we're talking about TikTok.
Oh, that's my favorite Kesha song.
On the Clock. Body Don't
It's
Stop.
not my favorite Kesha song, but it is a Kesha song.
No, your favorite Cash song is When You Take Godzilla to Meet Your Parents.
That is cute, but no, not my favorite. But anyways,
Is it Rainbows?
I don't know. I have to think about this. Anyways, but we're not talking about Kesha. We're actually talking about the app TikTok.
Unfortunately, we are talking about the app TikTok with specifically ByteDance, the Beijing-based owner of TikTok video app.
ByteDance is a good name for your company, by the way.
It
I
is.
like ByteDance.
Yes, ByteDance is developing a paid,
Yes.
streaming music service aimed at the same emerging markets that Spotify and Apple are seeking to explore.
Yeah.
Could be introduced as early as this fall, which adds to the company that has already secured licenses from the large Indian music labels, T-Series, which is huge on YouTube. I want to take a moment because we know we don't talk about it as much.
Right.
But T-Series is massive on YouTube.
I mean, really, we could be saying that about TikTok as well. We should acknowledge, for those of you who are, say, our age or older, that don't know what the hell we're talking about, TikTok is a video uploading and sharing site. Not too dissimilar from Vine, but kind of took the baton from Vine after Vine collapsed, and is now kind of the place where you go to watch stupid videos that people upload of themselves briefly doing stupid things.
Most of the time, they're briefly doing music video stuff.
Right.
Or lip singing, more likely.
Yeah, a lot of lip sync videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've included the story strictly because of if you're our age or older, you do not have the context to know how big this thing is with the younger generation. It is enormous. And also very big internationally.
If you'd like to know how big it is, look up social media apps in your Google Play Store or Apple Store.
It's up there.
And it will be top 5 guaranteed.
Yeah.
It is literally that big. I think it goes like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. It's huge. It's a really big deal. And so I included this because, yeah, I think that if they have the market to potentially bring their existing users over to their music service.
Yes. Do note that although they've secured licenses for T-Series and Times Music, they have not had many deals with the 3 major label groups, being Sony, Universal, or Warner.
I think this is going to be something that is going to take time. I think it's going to take for this to be a huge hit overseas before the U.S. labels realize, oh, this is a big deal.
I think that because a lot of people in the U.S., or at least among our generation, see TikTok as, oh, that kid thing, they will ignore this.
Yeah.
And that's why they're targeting, where there's massive amounts of people in India and Beijing, China, where there's like literally 2 billion people within those 2 countries alone.
Yeah. But if something's globally big, it's only a matter of time until it comes here. So that's what I'm saying is like, there's a possibility that if it becomes the biggest thing overseas, it may become huge here.
I don't know if I want to see that happen.
I don't know. Could happen.
But I'm not going to basically voodoo doll this thing to not happen. I don't know if that's a phrase or an expression. I just created it. But bad will. I don't want to issue bad will to it because this thing could very well be the next big thing. And we're just sitting here being like, aha, my 10-year-old watches that thing.
Right, yeah. These 16-year-olds are talking about TikTok.
Those 10 and 16-year-olds become adults.
They do.
And eventually.
It's a matter of time.
Just a matter of time.
All right.
Speaking of a matter of time.
Yeah.
Whitney Houston. It was only a matter of time until she got back on stage.
Sort of.
Well, may or may not get back on stage.
We'll see.
According to an article in the New York Times, the estate is now, quote, open for business.
Yeah, that's interesting because for a while after her death, the Whitney Houston's estate was very sensitive to the kind of things that they would allow her likeness to be used to promote.
Right. Well, the executor...
Yes, that's my favorite Pokemon.
Yes, the executor, Pat Houston, of the Whitney Houston estate.
An executor named Pat Houston.
My executor's name, Pat Houston.
Go, Pat
Executor.
Executor. Sorry. It has to be in a low-lit executor.
You have to be low-lit executor.
Anyways,
the executor of the Whitney Houston estate, Pat Houston, has pacted a deal with publishing and management company Primary Wave for a hologram tour. Mm-hmm. That's right. Whitney Houston in hologram form in tour.
Halogram.
Also, there will be an album of unreleased material, a musical, and more.
Yeah.
I can't wait for more. Said no one. According to the report, Primary Wave will acquire 50% of the estate's assets, including the singer's royalties from music and film, merchandising, and the rights to use her name and likeness. I'm not going to use the word exploit, but use.
Yeah, but also
exploit the hell out of it.
That's not wrong, though.
No, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
I guess I have to use the word exploit when this deal is valued at $14 million.
Yeah, and that's kind of the dark side of the story.
They're gonna want to make that money back.
Yeah, it's the story's frustrating, but this is just how it is to be famous and die now. Is that you never really go away because Your likeness rights are always in a holding company, which is often crosses over with your own family, and that they get to choose from there on what they do. And of course, if they have the opportunity to make money off of you, they're gonna do it. This was only a matter of time, and it's just it's like these likeness holders need to decide where that line is, and for most of the time, there is no line. Turns out.
What line?
Between,
once you cross over into death, it's only literally a matter of time.
But what I mean is that line about
that time
what should we do that is respectful of this person, and what maybe isn't respectful of this person. And what we're seeing more and more now is who cares? They're dead.
You know who started this trend? Michael Jackson. I blame Michael Jackson for dying.
Well,
and starting this trend of dead celebrities making money after their death.
I mean, there's a lot of things you can blame Michael Jackson for, but dying is weirdly not the one thing that you can. So, maybe don't do that. But
no, you're right. Elvis Presley.
Sure.
His likeness never goes away.
He had one too many peanut butter banana sandwiches.
Actually, fun fact. So I was watching the Avengers again.
Okay.
And so when I'm watching the Avengers, at the very end, it does the whole credit, and it says the licensing. The very first licensing, it says, is to Elvis Presley and Elvis Presley Estates. And so, watching the film, I was trying to be very attentive, trying to find anything related to Elvis, and I cannot find it. But it's there. They mention it.
Somewhere.
But it's there somewhere.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that it's what Stan Lee's clothing wears. That's because it's white. So it might be
invokes a specific Elvis movie.
It invokes a specific Elvis style because of the white suit. But
I don't know.
That's the only thing I could think of.
You should just Google that. Where is Elvis in Endgame?
I should just Google that.
You should just Google that.
I'm sure someone figured it out.
Yeah, some stupid person has watched that movie and doesn't know where Elvis is.
I'm one of those stupid persons to not know where it is.
Anyways.
It's not the music.
Let's move on.
Anyways. The moral of the story here is Whitney Hologram. Whitney Hologram coming to a Houston near you.
Pat Houston, my executor, coming to a Pokemon battle near you.
Alright.
Anyways,
we have thoughts. We need to talk about something you're very dedicated to.
Oh, man. This thing. Okay.
Alright, so you're dedicated. You're a dedicated fan.
I am a dedicated fan.
Am I a dedicated fan?
Carly Rae Jepsen. I don't know. You spent some money and attended a live concert.
I went to a concert.
There's some dedication there.
Alright, so there's dedication.
I'll give you some dedication there.
Alright.
But yes, Carly Rae Carly Rae Egyptian. We are falling apart on this podcast right now. Okay, Carly Rae Jepsen's new album, Dedicated, came out last week. And I am happy to report it is very good.
Okay, so that's what you're reporting.
Yes, I'm happy to report that. I want to get this laid out right now, though. It's not as good as Emotion.
Okay.
That's my caveat, and I only say that because it's hard to follow a perfect album. Or a near perfect album. Emotion, every single song on that record is good. With Dedicated, there's maybe a couple songs that I could see potentially maybe skipping. Though the bulk of it is still very good. And they are Carly Rae Jepsen songs exactly like you want a Carly Rae Jepsen song to be. It's a lot of clever lyrics, it's real big hooks, a real interesting mix of instrumentation, and Carly's voice. It's got all the pieces that make Carly Rae Jepsen's music her own and unique. They're all here. There's some really cool experiments that she hasn't really done before with having a song that has a very heavy guest presence. There's a song on here with where she goes into a register her voice that she hadn't gone into before. There's even a song that doesn't necessarily have a chorus towards the end of this record. So she's trying new things within the kind of parameters of being Carly Rae Jepsen. And I think it's largely successful. I really, really enjoy it. And yeah, I think it's a really good one.
Okay.
Did you listen to this?
I did also listen to it because I knew you would listen to it.
Yes, yeah.
Obviously.
I pre-ordered the record. It's not here yet, but I
You
pre-ordered
bought
it.
tickets already
And I already
to
bought
a
tickets to
concert.
tour. So yes, of course I was going to listen to this.
Yes. So because you were going to listen to this, I decided that I should also listen to this.
Okay.
And this album made me angry.
What made you angry?
I don't know what it was. So when I first listened to it, the first half of this album made me angry. And I couldn't figure out why.
Because you knew that you're not the person that Carly is singing to. That's
No,
that's
that-
what made you angry.
No, that's actually not what made me angry. What made- because, weirdly enough, the album actually ended up telling me what I was so angry about
Okay.
with the song called The Sound.
Oh, uh-huh.
And that's what made me angry about it. That I didn't want the lyrics, I just wanted the sound, the sound, the sound. Because that's actually what's really great about this album is the sound of it. I like the sound of it. I don't necessarily like the lyrics of it or any messages.
Are you
within
saying
it.
you wanted her to stop talking?
I just wanted to stop talking and just give me the sound.
Oh.
I like the sound of this
Oh,
thing.
that's harsh.
But
I also like the sound of this thing.
Yeah.
But also, there's some really good lyrics in this.
although
song.
there are good lyrics to this,
Yeah.
I enjoyed this album. I enjoyed listening to it. I liked that song, The Sound, and I liked the one that came after it, More.
Yeah.
Or Too Much.
Too much. Yes, too much is a jam.
Too much
sounds
should be
like-
a hit.
I told when I was talking about this album this week, I said it reminded me of like a couple of years ago Selena Gomez. It sounds a lot like remember the Can't Keep My Hands to Myself?
Yes.
They sound very similar. Their intros are very similar.
Yeah, I can get that.
It's that kind of song. But yeah, it's really, really fun one.
Yeah. But yeah, Too Much is a good song. I look forward to that charting. I hope it charts.
Potentially, I mean, that's the thing about Carly now, is that it's music that should be popular, that for some reason or another doesn't chart.
Okay.
She has this, like, weird, like, problem now where, like, nothing can succeed, which is weird. But yeah, the album is interesting because it's almost almost like a concept album about like an obsessed girlfriend.
Maybe that's why I didn't like it.
Almost every song on this record is about how much like she's like trying to prove like how obsessed she is about this guy.
You mean Julian?
Yeah, for example, even though that is actually framed as, oh, I used to see this guy named Julian, and I still think about him all the time.
Yeah, maybe that's why I was angry about it. Like, some of the messages were, like, mixed messages.
Not, I mean, that's the thing. It's like she's... One of the things about Carly is that she always writes from, like, a perspective that you can tell is not really hers, but is, like, evokes that of maybe, like, an alternate personality that she has of, like, the really, really obsessed romantic. Like, I just can't picture her actually being this person. It's weird. She's a lot, like, the way she does, like, writes her songs are always, like, it seems like almost like a second person narrative to me. Where it's like a story about, like, this is a scenario that is happening to someone spoken from the first person, but it's not actually first person because it isn't as detailed as it could be. It's weird. I don't know really how to explain that, but...
Well, no, let Carly explain it. Where you don't want the lyrics, you just want the sound, the sound, the sound.
Yeah, that song's really good.
That song is good. That song's catchy. That song was in my head, like...
Yeah. But yeah, I guess the long story short version of this is, if you liked Emotion, this is a no-brainer. Definitely check this out. It's just as fun, not as consistent, but just as fun, and the peaks are just as high. And like I said, I think she's trying new things here and there that make it interesting and make me wonder about like what the future of her music is going to be. Because if she just keeps getting weirder, like that's nothing but good news to me. Like, I want to see her experiment. I want to see.
Oh no,
her
there's definitely a lot of experimental and stuff.
There's some weird stuff.
There's definitely she's trying some new stuff out.
Also, did you catch the one Jack Antonoff cut? There is a song on this record that's produced by none other than Jack Antonoff.
Which one was that?
That would be "Want You in My Room," which I believe is the third song.
Yeah.
It's got all these trappings. He of course produced that Lord album, Melodrama. Yeah. He produced Reputation with Taylor Swift. Yeah.
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 Anyway.
Alright, anyways, did you listen to any other albums?
That's pretty much it.
Okay, I thought you were listening to the second one.
I probably said I was going to listen to something, but I don't remember.
Cool. Let's go to video games.
Carly eclipsed all last week.
I told you that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I told you you're still listening to Carly.
Yeah.
Alright. That brings us into video games as we start wrapping
It
things up here.
does. Video games.
And let's talk about new releases.
Guess what? There are none.
Alright, we're done.
So the reason for this is, of course, if you know anything about the video game industry, we are a mere, 2 weeks away from E3?
Yep.
At this point, 14 days. So that is when basically the industry goes on a lockdown, nothing really comes out, because everybody's ready to make their big announcements. So, yeah, we'll be in a video game lull for a couple weeks here.
Well, stuff will be released, like, periodically. Also, stuff will go on sale within these next 2 weeks. Not only from developers, but from consoles as well.
I have a story about sales, in fact.
Oh, well, let's get right into that then,
Why
shall
not?
we? Speaking of sales and online sales, Epic Games, yes, those people, well, these people, I guess, the Epic Games Store just launched its first ever mega sale.
Yep.
As from now, that's right, now as of this recording, through June 13th, which would be right into E3,
Yep.
it is offering up to 75% off select titles. Additionally, the company is digging into its own war chest to give people extra $10. That's right, you can get an extra $10 off on every game purchase over $14.99. This means your $15 game becomes a $5 game.
$5 foot game.
Yes, this also means there's no cost to the publisher or developer. The discount only works on games. It can't be used on downloadable content or season passes. However, anyone who recently pre-purchased or bought a game on the store will also get a refund within the next 7 to 12 days. This is their first time doing refunds, I believe. Normally, when you buy stuff online, it's you bought it, that's it. Except, I think Steam does like a 1 hour preview window, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Like a 1 or 2 hour preview window where if you don't like the game after that amount of time, you can just return it. But yeah, Epic Game Store. We're mentioning this because they're Epic Games. They launched a new game store, and this is a great way to get people to get to their site.
I thought it was interesting because this is the first big explosion, and they're doing it big.
Right. It's not like, oh, we're new, so everything needs to be kept in pristine condition. No.
Nope.
No, it's like, oh,
big moves.
Like, we want people to be signed up on our site, so we're going to give you discounts on games.
Yeah.
It's a smart business move, because you get them in with the discounts, and then you keep them there.
Mm-hmm.
And when stuff starts rolling
True
in,
story.
like, I'm sure they'll have announcements of only on Epic Games can you get this, or you can get this now on Epic Games. People already have accounts because of it, and just download it and play. But they're not the only ones who are going to have big announcements.
Yeah. Okay. This next story.
It's Microsoft. They may say it's Sony and Microsoft, but they're using Microsoft technology.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, it's a Microsoft story.
Say the story, but we'll get there.
All right. Well, Sony, yes, that's Sony, and Microsoft, yes, that Microsoft. The two of them are partnering on, quote, new innovations to enhance customer experiences in their direct-to-consumer entertainment platforms and AI solutions. End quote. Under the strategic partnership, the two companies will explore joint development of future cloud solutions that will benefit their respective games and content streaming services, xCloud, or CrossCloud, for Microsoft, and PlayStation Now for Sony.
Yeah.
The PlayStation. They are also looking into using current Microsoft Azure, as in the color, data centers for Sony's streaming service, as well as building better development platforms for content creators.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. This literally was the big thing, the big news this past week, because that's all anyone could talk about was, oh my god, they're actually going to partner up. The end of the console wars. They made an agreement.
So,
Woo!
first of all, no, it's not that. What this really is two tech companies being like, hey, Microsoft probably at some point approached Sony and probably said, hey, it's like that streaming tech you got. We understand that there's some issues with it. We understand that PlayStation Now is not the biggest thing in the world. We also understand there's probably other aspects of your corporation that would benefit from our cloud technology. So they probably had a tech meeting, and I bring that up specifically for a follow-up story that I will talk about in a second. The tech part of the companies, and had a talk and realized, hey, maybe we should partner up and share this technology with you so that way we can both benefit from this cloud computing future. This was not a video game centric decision. To the point where, and this is my favorite part of this story, the PlayStation team said this week over at Sony that they had no idea this was happening and that they were caught off guard by the announcement because for all they know, all the streaming stuff was still technology that was happening in-house.
This is because, like 5 years ago, before they launched PlayStation Now, they bought a company called Gaikai that did video game streaming content, and they bought that and turned it into PlayStation Now. So Sony, or at least the people at PlayStation, thinking this is already done in-house. They already do streaming video games. Why would they talk to their competitor?
I mean, but there is actually an answer to that, though, and there is some sort of real partnership here. I don't want to say that this is like, oh, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. But at the same time, I also don't want to say that this is not a partnership. It is still a partnership. It is still two companies that are ostensibly rivals in the video game space that are going to share technology that will be used in the video game space. That is not questioned here. That is still happening. Mm-hmm. Microsoft technology will be at the basis of whatever PlayStation Now becomes down the road. Ultimately, I see this as kind of a superhero team-up against a common villain.
Google Stadia.
That's what I see it as.
That is literally what it is.
Yeah, I see Microsoft being like, this is our opportunity to show Google that they have no idea what they're getting into.
I was going to say, there's actual grounds for this announcement happening two weeks to a month after Google Stadia was announced at the Game Developers Conference.
Because we already knew Microsoft was in a place where they were about to announce whatever they're going to do streaming-wise for Xbox.
Right.
That will happen at E3.
Right, and it's not an accident that the PlayStation 5 leaks or the big article that they did was announced prior to E3 either. Mm-hmm. These are all by oh my god, these are leaking, breaking stories, shush, insider secrets. No, these are done on purpose.
This is all planned.
And this is basically the culmination of what we've been seeing of the bits and pieces. That because Google Stadia was announced, and Google is planning on getting into the video game infrastructure, and because they have not only the technology, but the massive infrastructure for streaming online games, or just streaming games online, and I think they're actually threatened by that YouTube Play Now button that they're looking to implement. That is big. If that
potentially. It's potentially big if it works.
It's big if it works, and laughable if it doesn't. I don't know, the eyeglasses, Google Glass.
Yeah, like all their things that have gone awry. But anyways, yeah, that's the way I see it. I don't necessarily see this as suddenly Microsoft and Sony are going to be working together in a lot of ways. No, this just means that Microsoft saw one of Sony's weaknesses and they realized, hey, this would benefit the industry as a whole if we were able to make the video game players that already exist, Sony's boxes and Microsoft boxes, to do the streaming thing better than Google's new service can. Because if they're doing it better, then it puts Google in a harder position to launch Stadia as a legitimate competitor. What happens, like, because imagine, like, if the big developers and publishers, especially the big publishers, want to put their their exclusive games on one platform, and if the streaming is good regardless of where they're going to go, they're going to team up with the tried and true players. They're not going to go to Google first. This is brilliant strategizing for Microsoft.
Mm-hmm. And Microsoft, as we saw last E3, bought a lot of companies already to make Microsoft exclusive content. Funny enough, there's a rumor going around that Sony is doing the exact same thing this E3, that they're pulling resources from studios they work with to create one in-house studio.
That'd be smart. That'd be really, really smart. But yeah, in the end of the day, the story seems like a big deal, and it is partially a big deal. It's just not a world-ending, crazy, catastrophe as a lot of people would imagine it to be. It's just, this is the way this industry is going, slowly but surely. Is the walls are coming down with these companies working together, but that does not mean that you're going to have the Microsoft PlayStation anytime soon.
All right. No, it's not. No. All right. Moving on to thoughts. Did you play any video games?
I did not play any video games.
I played some more Everybody's Golf. I got to the point where I could fish. And then I played fishing for like 2 straight hours as I was trying to level up to catch bigger fish. Only to be disappointed by the fish I was catching. That's definitely a golf game. Even though they throw in mini games.
I was going to say, there's a golf game? There's a lot of fishing in this golf game.
Yeah. I played that. I also played Kingdom Hearts Critical Mode.
Of course,
as I do. Other than that...
I did jump back into Tetris 99 for a day.
Okay.
I played the tournament and I unlocked the Game Boy skin.
There's a Game Boy skin?
There's a Game Boy skin.
There's a Game Boy
I had
skin.
to participate in the tournament, though, which is now over, in order to get the Game Boy skin. So.
Hey, you're skinned like a Game Boy.
I'm skinned like a Game Boy now. Though the challenge has gotten a lot harder now. I guess people have just been sitting on that thing and getting really, really good. I think the highest I got was like 16th place.
Okay.
I just was not... But I only played like 6 or so rounds. But still, It was like... It seemed like people are better than they were week 1. So...
Or all the weak people dropped off, and all that remains is the elite players.
People are still on it, or the diehards.
Yep. In like phone app video games, HQ had their season 3 this past week, which means we are in season 4. So you can start as a fresh, new slate player and start building up for season 4 freebies.
Yeah, but. What I understand is there's no Scott, so no deal.
No, he's doing MLB. We covered that.
No Scott, no deal.
No, but you do get the Question 5 song.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know.
I
only played for like a month.
All right. Well, that's what I'm playing on a every other day basis, pretty much. But I think that ends us, right? I think we're done.
I think we're done.
I think we have done more to cover.
That'll do it then for
Unless there's any other breaking news.
No, that'll do it for video games.
All right.
That does it for the Media Boat Podcast.
All right, wrap us up.
So thanks for joining us today, this Wednesday night for the Media Boat Podcast. If you want to see us live next time, we're live on YouTube.com. Just search Media Boat Podcast. Every Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. You just search Media Boat Podcast on YouTube. You'll find our channel. Like and subscribe and click the little bell, and you'll get notifications when we go live. It's fun how it works like that. If you want to hear our audio version of the podcast, you can also do so. Just look up Media Boat Podcast on your podcatcher of choice or on Apple Podcasts.
Catch.
You can also find us on social media. On Twitter we're at MediaBoatCast. Facebook, just search Media Boat Podcast. You'll find our page. Like and comment. You can also find us on Patreon.com/MediaBoat. If you go on to Patreon.com/MediaBoat to support us, if you can. We play video games every once in a while on twitch.tv/MediaBoat. And if you want to email us, ask us any questions, I swear, if you ask us a question, we'll read it on the air. I guarantee. Just search MediaBoat, email that to MediaBoatPodcast@gmail.com. That was it. So we'll see you guys next week for another episode of the Media Boat Podcast.
In the meantime, enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Go see Aladdin, or don't. Disney has enough money as it is. Or do, because they need to pay off all these debts, I guess.
Something like that.
But we'll be back next week with more entertaining news. And now, time to go talk to a dog about
a dog.
Bye. All right, bye. All right, YouTube After Show. We're live. We're done. We're caught up.
No one talked to us. So
Bye-bye.
Bye.